Hello and welcome to Library Drawing Party. Today we're going to be drawing this beautiful daylily. To get started, let's take our green colored pencil. I'm going to be working with watercolor colored pencils today, but you could easily do this with regular colored pencils. So I'm going to start with the pistil in the center of the flower. So we're going to have these long half circles. And there's 4 coming up straight, and then there's 1 off to the side, and then there's going to be some green in the center, and I'm going to take my yellow colored pencil and I'm going to go over the lines we just drew, give it some yellow color. This is really a yellow green. Then I'm going to take my purple and I'm going to draw the tips of the pistils. Then let's take our purple and start to define the inner petals coloring. So the center of the flower. You want to do this pretty light because we're going to be layering red over top of this. And it's going to go in between the green lines that we just drew. When you're drawing the edges of the petals, you just want to make sure they're not totally straight. We're going to want to show off the curves that make these petals unique. I'm just going to be using purple for bits and pieces. I don't want to outline the whole petal with the purple, but it's nice for emphasis, especially towards the center of the petals. Before we add our red, I had added in some more yellow green in the center, so I'm going to fill that in with my yellow. And I'm going to add in some green highlights too. Let's take our red. Let's blend that in with the purple to get this nice red-violet color. You want to press down about the same that you did with the purple with your pencil. And we want the color to be pretty even. And we'll be blending some more colors on top of this. And this way we have those nice bright colors established early on in our drawing. You can add in some more emphasis on the edges of the flower. And let's take our peach color. If you don't have peach, you can use orange. You're just going to want to press very lightly. And I want my strokes to come from the center of the flower out, following the general shape of the petals. This will help show the veins of the petals and help emphasize the opening out of the petals using those nice curved lines. And you can go right over the purple and red that we did initially. Now there is a bit of green and yellow that come along some of these edges. So I'm going to use my green to define that a bit. Use yellow for even more highlights. I'm going to bring out some of these darker lines in the center of the flowers. Add that in a bit more. Maybe darken this a bit, especially towards the center. And take my orange and I'm going to go over the peach to give it a little bit darker color and help blend in some of that red violet that we created before. Let's take our light green and start to establish the stem. So we have a curved line that connects with the center of the flower, and then there's another curved line right underneath it, and one a little bit further below. And then there's a leaf on the side, and then this line goes to the corner of our drawing, and then there's a circular shape here and another one above it, and then a little leaf. Add in some leaves toward the bottom. Then I'm going to take my darker green. I'm going to go over that. Give it more color variation. I'm going to take my brown. And I chose a brown that has hints of orange in it to be a nice complement to the orange of our flower. I'm going to fill in the background. Put my brown base coat down. If you're pressing very hard, you want it to be consistently hard. If you're pressing medium weight, you just want to make sure that it's consistently medium. So the color should be about the same throughout. You also want to try and keep your strokes going in the same direction. This will help with uniformity. So I'm choosing to do my strokes as vertical lines. You could try horizontal or diagonal. This petal is looking a little short to me, so I'm going to extend it out a bit with my peach color. I'm going to take my brown and just draw lines around it. Take my orange, I'm gonna work on this edge and blend it in a bit more. Work on the other edges too. Seem to be getting a bit lost. So I want to take a little time to define them a bit more. Take my purple and use that to define the edge too. Maybe give it a bit more veins. Take my peach and blend this a bit more. Go back to my brown and continue working on the background. You could also try doing the background with a watercolor wash. You could do a red, orange, brown like I'm doing here, or you could even do bright orange. Blue might be good too because we have a lot of orange in our lily, and blue complementary color, and blue is complementary color. Once you have your base coat drawn, you can take your dark green and add in some texture with some random patches of green. This will help create an interesting background. Help tie in the stem a bit more. I take my peach and use the full force of my pencil, really bring out that nice peach color, and do some final blending. take my purple and bring out the center of the petals a bit more. Take my red and go over the parts that I just highlighted. Work around the edges a bit more. Now if you're working with colored pencils, then you can stop here. If you're working with watercolor colored pencils, we can add a watercolor wash. You can also use just regular watercolors to blend, particularly in the background. Then for those of you working with watercolored colored pencils, we're just going to take plain water on our brush. You want your brush to be fairly dry because we don't want to lose all the texture that we created. And then we're just going to blend things a bit with the water. I'm working from the center of the flower out. This will help blend the colors, give it a nice smoothness, add a bit more texture. And even a bit more shine. I'm using a fan brush for this, but you can use any kind of brush. We just want to use something that'll help us blend everything together, give us that nice smooth texture. You don't have to smooth everything out either, but it'll give us a nice shine. And if you find you've blended too much, then you can go back in and add some more lines with your watercolor colored pencil. I'm going to do that for my pistol, adding some green and yellow. Bring out those colors. Maybe add in a bit more orange. And there you have it. That's our Daylily. Thank you for joining us in this week's library drawing party. We have library drawing parties every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and keep being creative.